Welcome back to Education Matters. Did you correctly answer A? Careers in STEM and STEM-related fields are forecast to grow at twice the rate of non-STEM careers over the next 7 years. We're going to continue our discussion about the proposed new North Carolina Teaching Fellows Program. We have two great guests who know a lot about teacher preparation and about the Teaching Fellows Program. We have Dr. Mary Ann Danowitz, who is the Dean of the NC State College of Education, and we have Danny Bland. Danny has may not be anyone else quite like this, a former North Carolina teaching fellow, or maybe you're always a teaching fellow, then actually worked for the program and now is back in the classroom again at Heritage High School in Wake Forest. So thank you both for being here. Dean Danowitz, I am going to start with you. You were on our very first show back in October when we premiered, and we're still here, so we're glad that you're back. You talked about the need for a program like this. So how does it feel to see this coming together?
It's fabulous, Keith. It's the kind of thing that being in situations where we see people who are passionate about teaching and they're discouraged by the costs, the issue of affordability, and then not knowing what their career earnings are going to be. So having the Teaching Fellows Program back is, or the possibility of it coming back is what I think educators who prepare teachers have hoped for. Right. And we're eager to see what happens. We're very hopeful with the passage of the bill, and I can assure you that the preparation programs in the public and private sector are prepared if this comes through. Now,
obviously, the 5 schools have not been formally selected, but you and Chancellor Woodson have been out front, so I assume that this is a program that you would like to see at NC State.
We would love to see it at NC State, and if we are fortunate to be one of those schools, we are prepared to step into this.
Sure. Now, as I mentioned, Danny, I'm going to go over to you. You do have that unique perspective, but I want to go back a little bit. You've got your North Carolina Teaching Fellows pin on your lapel. What did the Teaching Fellows Program mean to you personally?
Well, it was just an opportunity to be a part of something special. One of the things I think that has been lost in the absence of the Teaching Fellows Program is that just appeal to students who might not otherwise consider going into teaching as a profession. Just like me, when I was a high school senior, teaching was the furthest thing from my mind, but my teachers sat me down and they talked to me about the opportunity to be a part of something special and to give back in ways that I hadn't even considered. And that was the thing that really appealed to me about the program.
Now, as I mentioned, you have that perspective of being on the inside in some ways. You actually, after you fulfilled your requirement for teaching, you came to work for the program, worked with teachers for several years. So what were the most effective aspects of the program in your opinion?
Well, I heard the representatives of the legislature talking about the cohort aspect of it, and that was a very strong aspect of the old program. And I think one of the things that also made the program work was that on all of the campuses, it was kind of looked at as a laboratory. You would do things with the Teaching Fellow students that you kind of thought about doing, on a wider scale, but that gave you the great test group to be able to do it, see if it works. If it didn't, they were flexible enough to adjust to it. I think the support was also an important part of the program. When you arrived on campus, you had a mentor. You had a relationship and a connection with the School of Education and other areas of the campus that incoming freshmen just don't usually have access to. And then being a part of that cohort, you felt like you were kind of a part of a mission. You felt like you were already on a team and that you and your fellow peers were going to go out and do something special. We were made to believe that from day one. And I'd like to think that we still are out there in the classrooms doing special things.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm not unbiased when it comes to the Teaching Fellows Program. But I think that having a program like that sends a powerful message about the importance of teaching, don't you think?
Oh, there's no question about it. I think that what it does is it signals to the people of North Carolina that education is an important profession in this state, and that our legislature cares about it, our schools care about it. It also means, I think, that it opens the door to think of education as being a high-status career. So in as much as we think about certain health professions, that this puts education right up there. This is something that signals to young people as early as middle school that this is a profession that is valued and they can move into.
Right. Now, one of the things that you and I have talked about before, I think we mentioned on the first show, was you talk to parents and you
Right.
talk to prospective students. And look, the numbers are, we know what they are.
Right.
30% decline since 2010 in students enrolling. What are parents telling you, and how do you think something like this can address that?
I think this is going to be a game changer in North Carolina. And one of the reasons is that there are parents that are concerned about the fact that their son or daughter or child in their family is going to have to borrow money. And then we'll be in a situation where they will not be able to have a career that will sustain them for the quality of life to raise a family. So this is very, very important. Another thing is that there are situations where the parents that are bringing their prospective children to colleges are coming out of situations where their child may have had a substitute teacher in math for the whole year. And so recognizing, really questioning what's going on in schools, but to see this as a possibility of changing that, I think we're going to see a major shift in terms of interests so that people who are passionate will choose, say, to consider STEM education rather than to major in chemistry and work in a lab.
Right. Now, and you're in the high school right now here in the Wake County area, up in Wake Forest.
That's correct.
Are teachers talking about this? Are they aware this is going on?
They are. I get asked all the time, and I tell them, quite honestly, I haven't even read the bill yet, but I do support the effort because, something like this, like the dean was saying, is important to give kids the idea that teaching is an important profession and that there is support for them. And not only that, but as the former director of recruitment, I can tell you that one of the things that we missed the mark on when we got rid of the old program was the fact that it's not just the kids who receive the scholarship, but other kids who you initially approach about the idea of becoming an educator will often follow up, and they will often look for other resources and find their way into schools of education. And I think that has been what has contributed to the overall decline in the numbers.
That's an excellent point, and we hear that too, that it was a visible program, and that's what we were just talking about. It does elevate the status. Well, look, you guys have been great. Thank you so much for being here today. We'll continue to follow this as the bill moves forward, and we'll probably reach out to you again. So thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Keith. It's great to be here.
After the break, this week's Leadership Spotlight.